Just because you're a singles player does not mean you don't need to learn how to drive, okay? Badminton Rants episode, ewan ko, 15 maybe? And we're going to be talking about this kind of stigma or pride that I see sometimes, where it's like single players will refuse to learn double techniques, like the drive, mid-court stuff, that stuff. And then double players will refuse to do single drills, right? Cross-training is very, very much so important, okay? A lot of singles players will be like, oh, singles is the most fundamental version of badminton. It's the purest form of badminton, and they will refuse to drive, they will refuse to do whatever. But the thing is, as you go up in, I guess, level, especially for singles, right, the game becomes flatter, right? People get faster, so you need to make the court bigger by applying flatter pressure, right? The lifts become flatter, the shots become flatter, the drops are not as steep, they're again faster and flatter because you need to put movement pressure on the opponent, and you can't go steeper, so you have to go flatter but faster, if that makes sense, okay? And even if you look at like the last Olympics, right? Victor Axelsen was just throwing around people with his forehand cross drive, okay? Victor's drive game has gotten so good, and I will do a video about this sometime soon. But for now, just take my word. If you haven't watched the singles gold match specifically between Axelsen and Vitterson, go watch it, and you will see Axelsen just basically out dominate everyone, not just Vitterson, but everyone he played against in the flat game. And this used to be not the case. Axelsen used to be quite poor in the flat game, considering how tall he was, and that was a way for players to pressure Axelsen, was through the flat game, but not anymore. I really think Axelsen has just no visible weaknesses at this point. But that's aside the point. So yeah, not only will this include learning how to play the flat game in singles, will not only improve your movement pressure on your opponent, it will also give you more options that the opponent has to worry about. If you smash and then you follow up, it's not always just going to be a net or a lift now. It could be a drive, it could be a court push, it could be a long net, right? Learning the flat game opens up your options, opens up your service returns as well. And also for the, I guess, players that aren't as versed as the drive game, can why you're playing someone and they are weaker than you in the drive game, why would I run around and play singles in the traditional way when I can just outdrive them, right? So yeah, so with that being said, right, there are a few things that are fundamental. One is going to be that drive, right? Being very comfortable in driving, especially to the sidelines, because you want the opponents to stretch out. Drives to the middle are going to be effective as well towards the body for applying additional pressure. And also you need to be very versed in being able to diffuse pressure, right? Whenever someone drives to you, you should be able to block towards the sides, right? Another thing that I see is in the smash defense. For example, if someone smashes you, it will be very effective if you can block back that shot and play it into past the service line, so they can't play a spinning net. They either have to lift it or they have to play another long net again, right? Playing the flat game in singles really will neutralize the options the opponent can play, and it will help you sometimes control what they can do or get you out of a sticky situation. There's a lot of use for being able to use the flat game. So now obviously you can't just play flat. Like even Victor Axelsen, who has quite a good flat game here, is not always going to be playing the flat game. He's still very methodical, and you still have to adapt how you play the flat game in singles compared how to play it in doubles, okay? So on the flip side, right, what is the value of like singles in doubles? So for example, in doubles, court coverage is very important, especially for that rear court player. So doing some singles footwork drills will definitely help in that aspect, especially at the lower level. There's a lot of problems with people. For example, if you just lift straight into their backhand corner, a lot of like lazy double players will just automatically backhand, which is a big no-no, because when you're playing the backhand, you're probably just going to clear most of the time, and then that's going to be instant smash, right? Being able to comfortably get around into your around the head corner and not take it on the backhand in doubles is important, right? Especially in doubles when there's two people covering the court. The rear court player should almost never have to take it on the backhand unless it's a true emergency, okay? But with that being said, right, the focus of this rant is the importance of the flat game for singles players. You guys have to remember, right, singles players are generalists, okay? Excuse me. So the difference between a generalist and a specialist is a generalist has to be quite good or have a working knowledge about all aspects of something, not just badminton, and just in general. A specialist doesn't have to be as good at everything, but has to be exceptional in some things, right? So doubles is more about specialists. You have a front court specialist who, it's okay if they don't have power, right? Look at Kevin Sukamuyu, who had almost no power in the back. Look at I think is it Wong or is it Lee? Basta. The 2024 men's double gold winner, right? The front court player from Taiwan, right? He has almost no power as well. He's even been on interview with CKU and said, yeah, I play at 27. I have no power. I just have skill, right? Pero the back players need to have lots of power, and it's okay if they don't have any front court skills, right? That's obviously an exaggeration. You obviously need to have some working knowledge of being in the front, right? But specialization is encouraged in doubles, okay? If you compare it to singles, right? You have to be good at everything to a working level, right? It's okay if you're not being able to get net tumbles, but you have to be able to play a spinning net, right? It's okay if you're not the best driver, but you have to be able to drive, right? It's okay if you don't have the best stop drop like Watanabe, but you still have to learn how to drop, right? And of course, you have to be able to play the backhand comfortably. So it doesn't make sense if you're a singles player and for some reason you just skip the flat game, okay? It has to be a part of what you have in your arsenal. And obviously, some players are not going to have that specific preference. They might not want to play the drive game. But if you have an opponent and they're just going to be pushing into you a lot and you don't have an accurate or good response to that, they're just going to keep playing the flat game and taking advantage from you, right? So at the very least, you need to be able to handle the drive in a defensive situation if you don't want to play it offensively, okay? And again, to recap, I'll close this. I won't take this to the full 10 minutes. Is, again, that single players have to be good at everything, right? They are a generalist. They are the only one on the court. So they have to be able to cover everything. They have to respond to everything by themselves. So logically, it would make sense if you have some working knowledge on how to drive, how to play flat, how to counter flat, right? And how to just be comfortable not playing traditional singles, not being able to lift everything. Like if someone's playing flat to you and you're just being forced to lift every time, then someone's going to exploit that. They're just going to play one flat shot, you're going to lift, and they're going to smash. GG, right? So at the very least, be comfortable playing it defensively, right? So what does that mean, right? Being able to play defensive drives, diffusing drives, playing long blocks, playing long nets, and of course being comfortable in flat defense when it comes to opponent smashing you, okay? Let me think more. And yeah, the last thing is, of course, like the pride thing and the ego thing. Just because you are a singles player does not mean you will be exempt from doing doubles drills. And then just because you are a doubles player does not mean you are exempt from doing singles drills, right? Like even me when I was in Malaysia, I would consider myself like a front court doubles player. There's lots of times where I'm doing full court drills still. Because there are some times where your partner is off balance or they're out of position, and you as a doubles player, you're going to have to take up more of the court to help them get back into the game, so to speak. So there's a lot of case for cross-training. Again, cross-training should be a very small part of your training. For example, if you're training 5 times a week as a singles player, maybe like twice a month you do drive drills or something like that, right? But yeah, just get out of the mentality that, oh, I'm this kind of player, I don't need to be doing this kind of thing, or I'm this kind of player, I don't need to be doing that kind of thing. That is wrong. You should be aiming to be as well-rounded of as a player as you can, and that will help you tremendously in your game. Okay, bye-bye now.